Hello, welcome to Urania Universe. I'm Portia, and in this video, I will be providing you with a brief overview of the astronomy and ritual of Beltane. This is video number 3 of 8, in which I talk about the 8 significant points that the sun makes within its annual yearly journey that we observe here from our perspective on Earth. These 8 significant points are also known as the 8 Sabbats that comprise the wheel of the year. And this is also considered to be the holidays within the pagan tradition. And this is just a really amazing way to observe and connect and celebrate the changing of the seasons and connecting with nature. So let's go ahead and talk about what Beltane actually is. Beltane is a cross-quarter day, and it marks the halfway point between spring and summer. And for the Northern Hemisphere, that halfway point will be around May 1st. And for the Southern Hemisphere, that halfway point will be around November 1st. And so what you're seeing here on the screen is the Northern Hemisphere perspective, which I will be mostly talking about because that is my personal perspective in the United States. But you see, we have these 4 quarter days, and then we have the 4 cross quarter days. The 4 quarter days are what we're familiar with, the equinox and the solstices, and the cross quarter days are the peaks of those specific seasons. And you see here, Beltane is the opposite cross quarter day as Samhain, which is also known as Halloween or All Saints Day. And so with Beltane in particular, Beltane coming between spring and summer is an observance of the peak of spring. During Beltane, we traditionally celebrate the creative energy, the creative potential, and the essence and the power of unity of the 2 energies coming together to create. And those 2 energies are the masculine and the feminine. So within that, within itself, right, we get the correspondences or the celebration of fertility, of sexuality, prosperity, what happens when you combine the energies of masculine and feminine, or you can think of even fire and water, just those 2 opposite energies with the intention of creation. And so with Beltane specifically, it has Celtic origins, right? So we're thinking Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man. And the Celtic god that was celebrated or appeased or honored for the Celtic tradition was Belenus. I believe I'm saying this right. I hope I'm saying this right. But this was the god of healing, the god of the fountains of, just fountains of water even. So when I saw the fountain, I was also thinking about this youthful energy, right? Like just when we think about the fountains of youth and how that's just desiring, and it's just that growth in the way of rejuvenation, of vitality. And that is one of the aspects or correspondences of Beltane. When we consider the Roman observances or Roman festivals, they observed or praised and celebrated the goddess Flora, right? And Flora represented fertility, vegetation, and flowers. And then with the Greeks and essentially the Romans, there were flower offerings given in the name of Maya. And so I believe Maya, I believe that's how I'm saying is Maya is the goddess of growth. And we got the name of May, the month of May was named after Maya, the goddess Maya. And she tends to be celebrated between May 1st and May 15th. Now for the astronomy of Beltane, and I did just give you a bit of insight on this already, so bear with me with this review. But Beltane is a cross-quarter point, meaning that it is the halfway point between an equinox and a solstice. And in the case of Beltane, That is the halfway point between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. In the northern hemisphere, that is observed around May 1st. And in the southern hemisphere, that is observed around November 1st. Now, those dates are the dates that this particular Sabbath is observed through ritual and celebration. However, if we want to consider the dates where the sun is actually halfway between the equinox, spring equinox, and the summer solstice, we have to consider the celestial longitude of the sun. Now, we don't have to do all the science and math by hand. There's an awesome website called Solar Events Calculator, and the creator of the website, I believe I'm pronouncing this right, Russell Cottrell. And it's really awesome. You can set the clock to your own local specific location, and you can get the exact day and time even of when that cross quarter point, when the sun will make it to that cross quarter point. So this is actually based on a solar clock and not necessarily like our clocks that we use. And so for the Beltane observance, or that cross quarter point, when that actually happens for 2023, in my perspective, where I am in New York in the United States, Eastern time zone, it will be on May 5th at, what was that time? 2:19 p.m., right? And so that is the exact time. And so the cross quarter point of Beltane, in the context of astronomy, in the context of nature, is the peak of spring, right? So we're really starting to see spring really come to fruition. We're starting to see, the flowers blossom, the grass getting greener, grass growing, the leaves fully coming in at this point, and really, really green and vibrant. So there's some vibrancy, there's some vitality, there is renewal, like we really feel and see the renewal energy. And so that is another way to honor and to observe when it actually is happening in nature, is when you're seeing the peak of spring. And while we're in the peak of spring, as we begin to past that cross quarter point, the days will get longer, or the daylight hours will get longer, and it will start to get warmer, right? So there's an initiation and an invitation for summer. And so if we really want to be in alignment with nature, right, from an astronomy perspective, from just being out in nature and observing the changes in our environment, that's a really good time to observe the Beltane holiday or Sabbath. And just want to check here on my notes. Yeah, and so really this is the honoring of the blossoming of the flowers. So when you start to see dandelions and stuff popping up in your yard, like this year they're everywhere, which is amazing, and I can't wait to pick them, and I'll share, how that's significant as well in ritual. This is the time where it's like, oh, we are in the peak of spring. This is the energy of the warmth and the water coming together to just bring the renewal to life, to bring in the vitality and the vibrancy of life on earth. And when we really consider this access, right, between Beltane and between Samhain, we really can see how this is a time where the veil is thin, right? So if you're watching this video, I'm sure that you are more than likely a practitioner of these type of arts, right? And you are wanting to go deeper with your rituals or your observances and your festivals and your celebration and honor for nature and the connection to nature. And so most of us know around Samhain or Halloween, that is a time when the veil is thinning, and we are feeling our ancestors and souls that have passed on closer, right? It's that energy of stillness and beginning to step more into slow moving energy. But when we are on the other end here with Beltane, the veil is thin towards life and towards vibrancy and towards light and activity and vitality. And so this is the time where the nature spirits really come alive. This is the time where you can, play and, consider like the fairies and the elementals and the spirits of nature, and see if you can really connect and just open your awareness to that particular energy. So when you start to feel that essence, when you start to feel yourself going outside more and just really starting to see the different colors start to pop up, that is when you know you are in the season of Beltane, just by connecting to nature and being in that actual moment in your own local environment, in your own local time. Now I will discuss my favorite parts of the videos and of the Sabbats is the ritual of Beltane. So again, we're considering alignment, right? Alignment with nature, alignment with divine timing, and just the tradition of these particular Sabbats. And another integration that, of course, myself as an astrologer, I think is really significant is the astrological correspondences or the components of these particular dates, right? And so if you're wanting to connect more with the astrology and in that tradition, the time in which you may consider observing or, doing your ritual will be around the time where the sun reaches 15 degrees of tropical Taurus. And this year so happens to also be on May 5th, and this year being May 5th of 2023. However, I do want to share that May 5th of this year, 2023, is actually a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So you may not want to do your ritual on, May 5th this year. And so I would suggest or recommend doing your ritual. You can do it, April 30th. Sundown is a traditional observance. So essentially, I would say ideally you want to do your ritual between April 30th and I would say May 3rd, because I wouldn't even want to get on May 4th because that's a little close. That's just me. I have done rituals and things of that nature during eclipses just to experiment, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get why they say do not really do anything on, in those eclipse periods or on those days of eclipses, because the energy can be, you're just doing too much, or it's already, the universe is doing it for you, right? Like those are the times where it's like really charged up and amplified. There's a disruption. If you want that kind of energy in your ritual, then, go for it. But if you're not really looking for all of that, then don't. Right. So I would say if you're watching this in 2023 around Beltane, consider doing your ritual between April 30th and May 3rd. Okay. But the astrological observance day is going to be when the sun reaches 15 degrees of Taurus. And again, the correspondence here is to celebrate creative energy and the enhancement of life. We also have in consideration the fire element, right? As we are getting more of the sunlight and honoring the sun. We also honor the element of water, as this is the time where there's more rain, and more rain brings rejuvenation, brings purification and healing and growth. Like so with the sun and with the rain, with the fire and the water, that brings forth light. And we have a bit of that masculine and feminine energy, or the duality energy. And so within your ritual for Beltane, it is traditionally honored with the goddess, the god and the goddess, right? The masculine and the feminine. And this is a time where people will have their hand fasting ceremonies, where they will practice sexual magic or have sexual festivals and so forth, where a woman and a man will come together and do sexual activities in community. And it could be really beautiful and powerful. But the key and the point here is that we're honoring the creative potential, the creative power, and that is held within the masculine and the feminine energy coming together in union. So check out here this really wonderful, just I guess you could say cheat sheet, and this is from waywardinspiration.com. This is a really amazing website that they have all of these for the 8 Sabbats, and I just really think it's really amazing. And so here you see that they give you the date of the sun transiting 15 degrees of Taurus. And again, that's around May 5th here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so check out Solar Events Calculator if you are in the Southern Hemisphere to see when that's going to be for you. So that's definitely going to be in November. Some of the main correspondence of Beltane is we have purification, we have protection, and activation. That's what I'm connecting with specifically for 2023. That's what's really coming forth. And so with the purification, right? This is this time of year where we start to do the spring cleaning. And one of the things that I like about purification is that this is when we tend to, I like to do a burning ritual. So that's, I think the first thing I'm going to do is clean the home and clean outside of the home. So clean more of the yard. And then sundown, which I am going to probably honor this on April 30th, or depending on the weather, right? Because it might rain. But one of these nights, when it's not raining, I am going to do a burning ritual, and I'm just going to make peace with what it is that I want to release now, the things that are stagnant for me at this time that just won't move on, right? I'm going to burn that. And that is my intention with purification. Now with protection, the way I am going to implement protection for myself and my home, specifically for my home, is, and this is a traditional practice that I came across in this cute little book here, Beltane, and this is one of Llewellyn's publications, and they have these for all of the 8 Sabbats. They're amazing. I haven't even been through the whole thing because there's so much. They give you divinations and spells and all of that. But one of the things that I really like that stood out to me is pretty much scattering yellow flowers at thresholds in your home to establish protection, to cleanse the boundary, to cleanse that threshold. So I am going to gather all the little dandelions because I have a lot this year, which is, I don't remember having this much. So I'm going to gather all the dandelions with my toddler, and then we will place them more than likely just at the front door. I'll probably do it here from my office or just the doors of the home to really set that intention for protection and just to bring really good vibrancy and energy to the thresholds and the interests of the home. And another element of protection, which this is going to go more into the ritual that I will also do when it comes to the activation, when it comes to the even bringing vitality to my intentions at this time, what my goals are, what to the seeds that I'm planting, I am going to cast a circle, right? And so I am going to call in the elements, inviting them in as that the elementals are really close at this time. But, I tend to always do rituals where I, cast a circle and call for the elements, but it seems really um, significant and powerful to do it at this time. So casting a circle, inviting the elements in, inviting in their qualities, and asking for, guidance and assistance with that. Then I will bring forth the god and goddess that I intend to connect with, which I'm not really sure yet. You can also just have a wand and a chalice to represent those energies, right? Whatever feels right for you, or you can do it in like candles and so forth, like getting, what you would consider masculine and feminine candles and lighting both of those. But once I cast my circle, I will invoke the god and goddess energy. And you can also look at that too as sun and moon if you want to. And once I cast the circle, invoke the god and goddess, I will then state my prayer, my charm, my spell, whatever it is that you do. I think this one's going to be a charm because I just love the concept of charm with the playful energy, the fresh, youthful energy of Beltane. So I will do a little charm, and then I will send that off with gratitude and love. Thank the god and goddess. I will close my circle by thanking and showing gratitude for the elements for their support, and close that circle. And that will be my way of honoring Beltane. Other little cute things that you can do that I saw that stood out to me was if there's a well near you or even a pond, like a small pond, you can walk the pond or the well 3 times sunwise, which is clockwise, and just show gratitude for the elements, or just speak what comes from your heart, right? But speak in words of gratitude, words of love, and so forth, and possibly ask for support or whatever feels right in that moment as you walk the well or the pond. And then once you walk that 3 times, dropping in some coins to just, or maybe even crystals, just to show your appreciation and an offering and a blessing from the well or from the pond. Another one is to collect. Let me get my book here. There's a bunch of cute little things you can do at this time, but one I really liked was collecting morning dew, right? So the morning dew is another correspondent of Beltane, where it's just that freshness and that, like, I don't know, morning dew just makes me really, really happy too, because it's just this like vitality and freshness of it. And by collecting morning dew, that brings health and happiness to you and those you seek to, send that energy to as well, or your home and so forth. And so, yeah, that's just some of the things I have for you. And I really hope that this was helpful for you in your observance of this day and your rituals and your spiritual practice. I would love to hear of your experiences and just what comes forth for you, or if there are any practices or rituals that you would like to share with me too. Please feel free to leave that in the comments. And if you enjoy this, please like the video. Please share with anyone that you think would enjoy it. Also, subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And finally, if you are watching this in 2023 and you're watching it before May 1st, I will be going live for just a hangout for Beltane or Q&A. I'll be pulling some tarot cards. You can ask me anything you want to, and that is going to be here on YouTube live May 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I think it's daylight savings time. But yeah, I'll be here live. So definitely check me out then and stay tuned for the following videos.